All right, let's just get right into it. If you're a renter, you know that feeling all too well. A huge chunk of your paycheck just disappears on the first of the month, and you're kind of left wondering, what am I actually building here? So today, we're going to break down how you can flip that script and start manufacturing your own wealth, even if buying a house feels completely off the table right now.
This quote, it just hits you right in the gut, doesn't it? It really captures that frustration. You're doing everything you're supposed to. You're working hard, you're paying your biggest bill on time every single month. But there's no asset growing, no investment compounding. It's just a roof over your head and the nagging feeling that you're just paying for someone else's investment. It can feel like you're stuck on a treadmill, going nowhere fast. So, we need to reframe this problem. Let's stop thinking about rent as just another monthly bill, because it's actually much more than that. It's part of a system that, by its very design, can feel like a trap that keeps you from really getting ahead financially.
And here's a really powerful way to think about it. As a wealth transfer system, seriously, pause on that for a second. Every single time you pay rent, you are literally transferring your money from your pocket into your landlord's. You're paying down their mortgage, you're building their equity, and you're growing their net worth. It's a one-way street where value just flows away from you and nothing comes back to compound in your favor. And this slide right here just perfectly illustrates the long-term cost. Look at these numbers. Let's say over 20 years, a renter and a homeowner are both paying $1,500 a month. They have spent the exact same amount of money, $360,000. But the outcomes couldn't be more different. The homeowner has built up about $150,000 in equity. That's a huge six-figure asset. And the renter? Well, they're left with a folder of old leases. Same money out, wildly different results.
And this isn't just about one person's situation. When you zoom out, this effect builds into a much, much bigger picture. The difference we just saw, it's not just a few $1,000s. The cumulative effect over time creates this absolutely staggering wealth gap between people who own and people who rent.
So just take a second and guess. How big do you think that gap really is? Is it twice as big? Maybe 10 times? Well, let me tell you, the actual number is pretty shocking.
So here it is. This is data straight from the Federal Reserve. The median, that's the typical homeowner in the U.S., has a net worth of almost $400,000. The median renter? Just over $10,000. That is not a gap, my friends. That is a chasm. It works out to a 38-to-1 ratio. This isn't just some small statistical difference. It's absolutely life-altering. And here's the absolute kicker, the most crucial point. This massive 38-to-1 difference isn't because homeowners are making 38 times more money. They're not. The main driver is simply where that big chunky payment goes every single month. Does it go into an asset that grows in value, or does it go into an expense that just vanishes? Okay, so that's the problem. It's big, it's systemic, and it can feel kind of overwhelming. But just acknowledging it, just seeing the system for what it is the first and most important step. So now let's pivot to the solution. This is the part where you start taking back control. We're going to talk about how to literally manufacture your own equity.
You see, a mortgage is so powerful because it's basically a forced savings mechanism. Every month, without even thinking about it, a homeowner is automatically building their own wealth. As a renter, you just don't have that built-in system. So the whole key is to create your own. You have to build that forcing mechanism yourself, and you have to do it deliberately and consistently.
And listen, it's not nearly as complicated as it might sound. We're about to lay out a simple, totally actionable blueprint for building that system from the ground up, and you can start today.
So here it is, your three-step plan. First up, create margin. You want to aim to keep your rent at or below 25% of your take-home pay. This is so critical because it's what frees up the cash you need to actually build wealth. Second, automate it. Open up a separate account, call it your renter's equity fund, and set up an automatic transfer for the day you get paid. This takes willpower completely out of the equation. And third, optimize. Don't just mindlessly auto-renew your lease every year. Every couple of years, shop around, see what else is out there, or try to negotiate. You've got to keep your biggest expense as low as you possibly can.
Now, this is the all-important psychological shift you have to make.
That automatic transfer to your equity fund, it is not optional. It is not whatever's left over at the end of the month. You have to start treating it like a bill that is just as mandatory as your rent or your internet bill. It's a non-negotiable payment to your future self.
And hey, if you're sitting there thinking, $200 a month, what's that really going to do? Well, this is the magic of compounding. Just $200 a month invested in a simple, low-cost index fund, which is basically just a basket of stocks that follows the market, can turn into over $34,000 in 10 years. And in 20 years, it's over $100,000. You have just manufactured the six-figure asset that the rental system was designed to keep from you.
So, at the end of the day, it all comes down to this. You can now see these two systems operating side by side. And what that means is that you now have a conscious choice to make about which one you're going to participate in. Look, on one side, you can just keep feeding the old system, where your payments build wealth for somebody else and your personal return is zero. Or you can start building your own system, where your payments build wealth for you and your return is the incredible, undeniable power of compounding growth.
So here's the final thought I want to leave you with. Your next rent payment is just around the corner. That money is going to be spent one way or another, right?